What the hell has happened this year? Besides all that, what else has happened in 2020? Well, the video game industry has been booming. Yay! Because, everyone's stuck inside. Boo. And because of this dilemma, a lot of companies have been making moves to stream games, and all media in general, directly to the people. Spending on video games has hit an all-time high, implying that escapism is really the only solution to... And with all that being said, it's honestly a really cool time to be a gamer. I bet a lot of you are thinking, well, I'm stuck inside. I like games. Is this game streaming thing worth giving a go? Yeah, yes it really is. What else were you doing anyway? Curing malaria? First of all, holy shit, so much bang for your buck. So much content for the price of 2 games a year. Game streaming enables a variety of games for every player to form a non-committal relationship to. Kinda like a Tinder date. The consumer essentially gets a Netflix-like service with a wide array of interesting, unique titles that most people wouldn't have given a chance otherwise. What does it mean for developers of these games? It means that these developers are potentially going to be making bigger margins on the sale of their games, because a lot of them get the opportunity to release digitally only, which cuts a huge portion of the cost of manufacturing and the cost of the middleman, your GameStops, your Best Buys, your Amazons. It also means that developers and publishers will no longer have to deal with a pre-owned market. Why is a pre-owned market bad for publishers and developers? See, when you have a middleman selling a pre-owned game, they are the only ones who profit from it. See? More monies! So much more money that it is absorbent with a glass of bourbon. There's a lot of competition in the gaming space right now, and this is a crucial concern for consumers and developers. More competition means lower prices for consumers and hopefully larger cuts to developers. Without competition, you get a monopoly. And oh my god, I really do not have the time right now to get into economics lessons on why monopolies are bad. Game streaming subscription services seem to be beneficial to both consumers, developers, and especially publishers. If you think about it, these publishers are pandemic-proofing their revenue streams. Instead of having to rely on physical supply chains, it's a lot safer for a publisher to create an ecosystem without physical copies. There's a lot more risk to the publisher if a physical copy flops. The publisher loses money of having to do all the printing, the shipping, the distributing, the customer servicing. All the cost would be eliminated by streaming these games, replaced with racks of servers that hold everyone's files neatly in a little chip that costs pennies of electricity and has virtually no risk. Just a clean, easy-to-read spreadsheet that these publishers can show to their shareholders and be like, look at how much guaranteed revenue we are bringing in every month. Please buy our stock. Okay, let's talk about something. I want to address a common misconception in the video game universe. You don't own your games. You are actually licensing a game from a publisher, and it is all a legal byproduct of copyright law. The publisher is sometimes a developer, it's sometimes a hardware manufacturer or third-party publisher, and sometimes it's a devil. But you do not own any part of the game you buy from any of them. You are simply own a license to the game for your own personal consumption. You have no right to redistribute that in any way. Even if you own a disc or a physical copy, you own a license of that property. You are legally not allowed to resell it. The idea of a license came about as an attempt to stop people from pirating. You wouldn't download a car. Oh, Jesus. Streaming platforms are de-incentivizing piracy because the cost to play all these games just got significantly lower, so the hassle to have to pirate a game becomes a lot less appealing when you have a way more convenient option to play these games for a lower price. Crazy. The solution to piracy the whole time was to charge a more affordable price. Take notes, Adobe. And let's be honest here, physical copies have already died with the popularity of Steam. Okay, let me just ask you a question. When was the last time you bought a physical disc to play a computer game? You probably haven't. In the past 10 years, most PCs stopped coming with optical drives. It's all downloaded because it's the easier way for both the manufacturer and the consumer. We are removing physical barriers. It's a better ecosystem. There's less constraints, lower barriers to entry. This is the way technology should work. It should be easier to use the things that we have, and it should take less work on our end. The faster we get the product, the better. The less barriers to entry, the better. Steam's business model has really helped small developers gain an audience that was previously unattainable with the physical constraints of the old era. However, similar to Apple, Steam's model has come under a lot of scrutiny because of their 30% cut from developers. Steam is by no means perfect, but their download-based model really paved the way in a lot of respects. If downloaded games was the future in 2003, streaming games live represents the future today. Another benefit to the developers is presumably From my elementary understanding of the relationship, allegedly, developers get a cut from subscription money per download or per PlayStation, or however they set up their contract. The more money that developers can get for their work, the better. It gives smaller developers a chance to shine among the million-dollar productions that surround them, because you already have a subscription and have access to a huge library of games, and people will be more likely to try the games if they've already paying for the subscription instead of having to buy a whole new game. Alright, let's talk about internet connection. Probably one of the biggest hurdles for most people to jump over is ping. Ping is a huge factor in determining whether or not you are going to be able to stream games. Different streaming services offer different kind of play options. The two main play options are streaming the game live from the server versus downloading a game from a server and playing it on your device. The download option being a preferred option for people with spotty-ish bad internet. The faster your upload speed, the faster your inputs hit the server, giving you a smoother experience. But if you have bad internet, download-only streaming services such as Xbox Game Pass on PC is the way to go, because it's really no big deal if a download slows down a little bit, but it's an absolutely egregious experience to have to play a game and have your character chop across the screen due to your internet latency spiking. If you have bad interwebs, check out these. And if you're fortunate enough to have good internet, WTF, mate, any of these would be worthwhile to check out. Well, mostly. So make sure you run some speed tests and see if your connection is stable enough to stream games. And for God's sake, if you're using a Wi-Fi connection to stream your games, please stop. We invented this amazing technology called Ethernet in 1980. Please find one hiding in your parents' basement somewhere and use it. It'll be a huge upgrade to any gaming experience online. It'll make the smoothness of it 8 billion% better, I guarantee it. Why Ethernet, you ask? Because Ethernet stabilizes your internet connection. The more stable your internet connection, the smoother the gaming experience online. So let's talk about the negatives of game streaming. First of all, I have a question. Are these publishers even going to keep the games I want to play on their service? The reality is your favorite game may get taken off the streaming service you are subscribed to. That is an absolute possibility. I don't see why any company would willingly take off content, but legal kerfuffles happen all the time, and it may be a possibility one day. But I would say more so than even Netflix and Hulu, taking off content off a game streaming service would be a more substantial issue in subscribers' minds because the progression in the game could be lost as well, and that's a lot harder to recover than what episode you last watched. It would be especially catastrophic if a popular game were removed. There would be a cataclysmic backlash from subscribers to the service, not being able to finish or continue to play the game that they've just spent hours on. Especially if that game is an RPG game where progression is everything, I would be pissed too. I hope that this will never happen, but it only feels inevitable in this economy. There's no guarantee that these services will continue to charge the same price they are now. We are absolutely in the dating phase of this game streaming business, and it's only a matter of time before the veil falls and we see the true embodiment of their intentions. The only thing that would prevent Netflix-level price increases would be competition, and while there is a fair amount of competition in the industry right now, only time will tell if these are real competitors or just another attempt to get swallowed and acquired with $1 billion payday. But in the end, while streaming games may not be ideal for every gamer, some of these game streaming services are really worth giving a go, especially if there's any games that you want to play again for nostalgia's sake. That's why I signed up to a few. If not for nostalgia, it's worth experimenting with newer AAA titles and indie games you may have missed initially. I found games I would have never bought for myself on these streaming services, and I enjoyed them immensely, such as Grim Fandango. The barrier to entry to play games has never been lower. The amount of quality games you get with most streaming services is nanners. The only party that the streaming services are hurting is the middleman. Massively. But if there's less of a need to use middlemen as a way of getting your games out to the masses, why keep them around anyway? Access to games is important, but more importantly is the fact that to the Microsofts and Sonys of the world, the switch to streaming games will help tremendously in making more money in the long run, which is the goal for every for-profit company in the world. Can't knock them for that. I'm just happy that we are seeing such consumer-friendly decisions being made in the gaming space right now. The more access more people around the world have to video games, the better the industry will become. This doesn't mean the end of other game models such as free-to-play games or games you just buy initially for $60. This is just another option for consumers that has a tremendous value to the player. Thanks to huge leaps and advancements in technology, game streaming isn't just around the corner, it's a reality today. These companies have great foresight for investing in streaming right now because it's the future of the industry.